Barrasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Schneider, thanks so much for taking time to visit with me, and welcome back to the committee. On January 8th, as we've discussed, Senator Manchin, Senator Portman, Senator Lee, and I sent you a letter about the Inspector General's report on the Office of Surface Mining's stream rule. The report shows that political appointees at OSM directed the career staff members and the contractors. The political appointees directed the career staff and the contractors to change the method that they've used on how to estimate job losses, which would result from the rule, because the political appointees were pretty embarrassed by how bad this was going to hurt the economy. The political appointees did this only after the media reported that the Office of Surface Mining's stream rule would cost about 7,000 jobs in the coal industry. So the political appointees said, oh, we can't allow the Obama administration to see how horrible this is for the economy. We better change the way we do it and tell these people who've made a career out of working in the department that they were going to be overruled for political purposes. So if confirmed, you will oversee the OSM and this rulemaking. You'll be in a position to determine how OSM estimates the job losses which are expected to result from this rule, and people will lose jobs as a result of this rule. In our letter, and it was a bipartisan letter from members of this committee, both Republicans and Democrats, we explained that we would only be able to support a nominee who will direct the office to abide by its original position for estimating job losses. Specifically, a nominee who will estimate job losses by using the 1983 stream rule, not the things that had happened in 2008, to use the 1983 as the baseline for all the states other than Tennessee and Washington. Now, on Friday, you wrote back that if confirmed, you will ensure that any proposed rule is completed, you said, in a manner consistent with federal law. Well, do you believe that OSM could use the 2008 stream rule as the baseline for estimating job losses and still be in compliance with federal law?
Senator, thank you for that question, and I wanted to thank you very much for the time that we spent together yesterday. I appreciated the opportunity to learn more about your perspectives and your concerns with respect to this particular issue. I also want to thank you for the letter. I was not previously aware of these issues, and when I received your letter that night, actually, I immediately downloaded the public version of the report and read the report so that I could begin to consider these issues. I also had an opportunity to watch the House hearing that was held on this issue. So, you know, I did see that the Assistant Inspector General testified under oath that he found no evidence of political interference in the analysis that was being conducted for the rule or in how the contractors were treated. That said, clearly I think when you read the report, I agree that it seems as though the process could have been managed better. And so, you know, I want you to understand that I do understand your concerns about that, and that if I'm confirmed, I am committed to ensuring that there is fairness and accuracy in the assessment of impacts and benefits associated with this rule. I have over 20 years of experience in the working on NEPA issues. They're highly complex. Baseline analysis in particular is a highly complex issue, and it's the sort of thing that, if confirmed, I would certainly take a closer look at. And as I said, you know, given my experience, as we discussed yesterday, given my experience in the private sector, and working on mine projects in particular, I understand the importance of high-wage mine jobs to rural communities, and I'm committed to making sure that the analysis is a fair and accurate one.
I agree. You're an expert on this area of the law, and you practice law with one of the world's really top law firms. So I look at this, I think, do you believe that a federal agency can estimate job losses using as its baseline a rule that really hadn't even taken effect in most of the country yet? And they say, well, that's where we are, but they're not there.
Senator, if I am confirmed, I may be a deciding official on this rule, and I would certainly need to study the complex issues that you raise more closely and more carefully, including any public comment that is issued on the rule before it would be appropriate for me to take a position on this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me, we're calling some audibles on other matters. Has the senator from Wyoming finished his questions?
My time's expired, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question or so for Ms. Sue, but we can delay that. Thank you.
If it is something we can accomplish quickly, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you, Mr. Senator Hoeven. Okay. Ms. Sue, I'd like to revisit a written question that I submitted to you about the Hewlett Foundation's energy program. Last month, I had asked whether natural gas was one of the high-carbon fuels that the Hewlett Foundation was trying to eliminate in our American energy mix. You stated that the Hewlett Foundation's energy program, quote, was focused on ensuring the clean and efficient production of energy, not on the elimination of natural gas or other fossil fuels. So that's what you stated. And it appears that in 2001, the Hewlett Foundation provided a $200,000 grant to the Western Resource Advocates for the development of a clean electric energy plan. In 2004, the Western Resource Advocates released a plan which read, quote, continued investment in fossil fuel generation to meet growing power needs increases our exposure to these economic risks and environmental impacts. The plan went on to recommend retiring over 8,000 megawatts of existing coal and natural gas-fired power plants. So over 8,000 megawatts of existing coal and natural gas-fired power plants. So the question is, help me understand the inconsistency, if you would, between your written answer and the Hewlett Foundation's grant to the Western Resource Advocates, which has as its goal eliminating natural gas-fired power plants.
Senator, thank you for that question. I recognize you have a number of concerns with my quotes, and let me try to take the opportunity to reassure you that I absolutely support the responsible development of natural gas and other fossil fuels from our public lands in particular. I believe I have demonstrated that support in my role as Assistant Secretary for Policy Management and Budget, and that support is obvious in the increased budgets that we have for our land management agencies and development agencies, the Bureau of Land Management, BOEM, and BESI. I do not know the specifics of the grant that you're referring to, but I'm happy to look into it further and have further conversations with you.
I'd appreciate it because there's an additional Hewlett Foundation funded report, one in 2007 in June, called A Golden Opportunity, California's Solutions for Global Warming. It says the largest source of global warming pollution in California is the carbon dioxide emitted from burning fossil fuels, oil used in cars and trucks, coal and natural gas burned to generate electricity, and the natural gas used in homes and businesses. So I'm still having a hard time understanding the inconsistency between these grants and your claim that the Foundation's energy program wasn't focused on eliminating fossil fuels such as natural gas. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.